Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another brand new Mattel Jurassic Park 93 Classic release. In fact, we have what I believe is the final release from the 93 Classic line. This is the Off-Road Tracker Pack with the young Tyrannosaurus Rex. You can see the box art looks absolutely phenomenal. I cannot even begin to stress how much I love the box art on this. It is so classic, so vintage and old school, just nostalgia through the roof. You can obviously see we've got a nice window area where you can see all of the figures contained within, as well as the nice big Jurassic Park logo and the JP logo in the upper left hand corner. We also have the 93 Classic logo and again the name of the pack. And then if we turn to the side, first of all, you can see a nice Jurassic Park logo. And then on the back, obviously, we've got a nice shot of everything again contained within the set. It all looks phenomenal, and I cannot wait to dive into this. And of course, the back also has this absolutely awesome artwork that is very reminiscent to the old Kenner stuff, which is another of the many reasons why I love the 93 Classic line. And whatever Jurassic World Reimagined is, which we'll find out, I believe, on Wednesday, again, I really hope it's something similar to this, where it gives me this same feeling and the same nostalgic feeling that I have with the 93 Classic line. But let's go ahead, pop this open, and check it out. And there we go. We have everything out of the packaging, and man, is this ever awesome. Like, the Rex looks incredible. I could not possibly tell you how much I love the coloration on this. Like, it's so classic Kenner, and it just looks incredibly nice on this version of the T-Rex. The Jeep is also phenomenal. I love the colors of it. Even Ray Arnold looks spectacular and definitely has that old school Kenner feel. And then the addition of the capture gear is seriously the icing on the cake. If this is in fact the final release for the 93 Classic line, like it seems to be, boy, they're going out with a bang. I really wish there would have been more of this stuff, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that maybe there is, even though it seems as though it's, you know, turning into Jurassic World Reimagined. But I'm kind of hoping that the 93 Classic line continues on and they just do like Jurassic World versions of these other dinosaurs, and that one that's kind of similar and old school to this. I don't know, whatever happens happens. But again, I've just absolutely loved the 93 Classic line. It's one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing outside of the Hammond collection that they've ever done, and this set again is pretty much just like the icing on the cake for this line. So let's go ahead and jump to a closer look and check it all out from there. So of course the thing I want to take a look at first would be the T-Rex, because that's of course the thing I'm most excited about. And you can see it looks really nice, and they very clearly took their inspiration for this, not just in the paint scheme, but also as far as the head sculpt goes, from the Kenner Young Rex, and I think they've replicated it in their own way very nicely. Again, it obviously has that young Rex from Kenner look, but also a nice, strong, healthy dose of Mattel's own personal touch, which I really love. You can see that the skin texture and everything looks pretty nice on it. Again, it's not overly vibrant, but the colors are also pretty bright, especially when it comes to the yellowish tones, so that almost shines the detail away and makes it a little bit hard to kind of pick up on how nice the detail looks. But on the upper part with the very dark grayish tones that we have here, you can see the detail, I think, a little nicer and get a pretty good feel as far as what it looks like. We can of course see the nostrils and stuff sculpted out up here on the tip of the snout. The eye is sculpted nicely, lots of creasing and stuff there around the eye. The eye itself is painted with a greenish tone and a nice black pupil. Also sports a little bit of a glossy look. Another thing that is a massive improvement on this over many other Tyrannosaurs in the Mattel line are the teeth. You can see the teeth have a much better, much more genuine, sharp look to them, because we now have these newer, sharper, but more flexible, so they're softer teeth, like sharper looking, but not actually sharper, but they have a way better look compared to all of the older Mattel Tyrannosaurs. And you can see, of course, the upper and lower jaw articulate. We have a really nicely sculpted tongue on the inside of the mouth, which is very nice. It almost looks like there's actually like slit-like injuries, you know, across the tongue. Definitely has that look to it, which is actually pretty cool. I don't really remember Mattel doing that before. But again, the texturing of the tongue looks great. The detailing, honestly, through the entire inside of the mouth looks really quite nice. We have a pinkish tone that encases the entire inside of the mouth and a nice gloss coat in there. The Rex itself, of course, is actually the Extreme Chompin' T-Rex, so it does have that same articulation in the neck, which is really smooth. And I've always loved that articulation, so I'm really actually happy that they've chosen to go that route with this one. You can see we've got this nice little spot of articulation here, And then again, you've got like this little area here. So you've got some nice posability in the neck for the T-Rex. It also does have the same extreme chomping action feature where you press the button on the top of the head, which activates the jaws to chomp. Now, for the most part, this figure is actually a reused figure as far as the sculpt goes, because the only new parts that I can tell would be the head and maybe this. I'm not even positive on this part here. But once you move down past that point, it is absolutely the extreme chomping T-Rex body. It doesn't look like anything has really changed as far as that goes. I don't notice any updates as far as the skin texture or anything like that. The arms look like they're the same. The feet look like they're the same. So even the tail, you can very clearly see is, again, the extreme chomping T-Rex tail. So no real differences as far as that goes. But as far as the coloration goes, again, we've got the yellowish tone here on the lower part of the dinosaur. There's darker gray on the upper part, and that follows along. It just kind of patterns down through the course of the entire body. You can see it overtakes the arms and also, again, leads back up and then patterns into the stomach. And then it also overtakes the entire legs. But one thing that is nice is the nails are painted, which you can see, painted with a nice black. And unfortunately, we don't have Duclaw paint. There's no shocker there. And then, of course, you bleed out, and we do actually have paint out onto the tail. I was very worried about that. I was worried that the paint would cut off somewhere in here, and we just have this super bright yellow tail. But we do actually have the darker tone running out onto the tail. Not all the way, about halfway, but it is still out onto the tail regardless, which is nice. Of course, as far as the articulation goes past that point, it's all your usual. You have the forward and back movement of the arms. Same deal for the legs, forward and back. Also out away from the body and back in, and then the ankle swivels, and then you also have the tail articulation, left, right, up, down, can swivel, all of the usual stuff when you find an extreme chomping, extreme damage, whatever type of T-Rex as far as the sculpt goes. But you can see again, it looks really nice on both sides. I love that head sculpt. It just looks so cool. And again, the paint apps on this are absolutely phenomenal if you ask me. For the Jurassic Facts app code, there you go. So you can add this one to your collection as well. But the T-Rex is awesome. Of course, we also have the capture gear, which is nicely sculpted, also painted with a nice chrome sort of finish. Very, very nice looking overall. It's not overly detailed. It's not overly highly detailed, but pretty nicely detailed. It also has a really soft kind of rubbery feel to it, but that looks pretty good. And then, of course, we also have like the shackles for the legs, which are painted with the same tone of color. Also very nicely sculpted. Again, not overly sculpted, but nice enough. This one kind of flexible, but not nearly as flexible as the other capture gear. Then as far as Ray Arnold goes, first of all, he's got this very interesting weapon here, which unfortunately actually is a little warped. You can see it kind of warped in package. I'm not really sure why that happened, but that looks pretty decent. But as far as Ray Arnold himself goes, you can see it's definitely the same likeness that we had from the previous Ray Arnold figures. He even has this little earpiece going on up here down into his mouth. You can see he's got his glasses on. The paint looks pretty nice. The sculpt again looks just like the previous version did. He's like this vest on. I don't know if you can take it off. I mean, maybe. Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so to take it off, you just have to open it up there in the back, and it is removable, which is pretty cool. So he's got a very bright green vest on him with a very interesting and unique look to the front of the vest. He's wearing a gray shirt, which is nicely sculpted. You can see some wrinkling and stuff in there. You can also see that he's wearing some red gloves, which is pretty cool. A nice red belt, so a good bit of paintwork added to Ray Arnold as well. And then you lead down and he's wearing green pants. The detailing of the pants also looks really nice. He also has boots on, but the boots are the exact same color as the pants. So again, I mean, I don't know, you could consider that a little laziness as far as not adding paintwork to the boots that is different from the pants, but it meshes nicely, I think, so it doesn't look too out of place or anything. Everything, again, very highly detailed on Ray Arnold, even the little bald spot up here on the top of his head. And of course, as far as articulation goes, his arm can go forward and back, out away from the body, also the elbow, and then that can swivel. And again, these are all pretty much the standard areas of articulation for Mattel human beings. You can see the neck goes side to side and forward and back a little bit. You can kind of see him nodding. He also has midsection articulation on a swivel. The legs can move out and forward and back, as well as the knees. And again, the knees are also on a swivel. So that's about it as far as articulation goes. But again, when it comes to a 93 classic version of Ray Arnold, that's pretty fun. And then the final piece of the puzzle is this fantastic Jeep. And look at how cool the Jeep looks with the Jurassic Park logo right there, front and center. I love the colors of this with the red kind of coming up and just patterning into the tan area of the hood. It looks super cool. You can see all of the lights up here on the top have a nice sticker on them to try to give them a bit of a highly detailed look. We do have the very cool doors, which do open, which you can see. They open very nicely. The inside of the Jeep as well is pretty nicely detailed. You can see the shifter and everything down there. We've got the dashboard and everything up here, as well as the steering wheel, which does turn. So that's a nice little addition as well. And then of course we have the opposing door, which can also open. You can see even the rear view mirrors also have a sticker to them. And then as you move back, you can see the back actually features some pegs, so you could put Ray Arnold or one of the other 93 classic human beings up there and have another one drive. But again, you can also see that the wheels are given a nice reddish tone, and then of course black for the tires. They move very nicely, very smoothly. Then you've also got another one here on the back, the tail lights as well, sports stickers, which looks pretty cool. That sticker though seems to be coming off actually. So let's push that back on there, and then we'll go ahead and check out the front. Yep, the headlights and everything are also given stickers. So overall, you know, it does look really nice. It also looks really highly detailed and screams Jurassic Park in the absolute best way possible. So definitely a super cool vehicle to go with all of the other super cool vehicles that we now have in the Mattel line, especially when it comes to 93 classic stuff. This thing is fantastic as well. And there we go. We have the set now put together. We've got the capture gear on the T-Rex, and you can see it looks super nice with the capture gear on. Again, as per usual, screaming classic Kenner, classic Jurassic Park, which is awesome. But another thing that's really cool that I actually didn't mention just a moment ago is the fact that on the Jeep, you can see there's a nice little area here where you can take that weapon that Ray Arnold has and attach it to the side of the Jeep so it can stay there. Again, a really nice display. Also a nice convenient way to not actually lose that. But as far as the vehicle's mobility, let's go ahead and lower the camera and give you a nice shot of this. You can see super smooth. It did hit the T-Rex, but it's super smooth. It's definitely looks to be the same size as far as the Jeep goes compared to the older Mattel Jeeps. So we don't really need to do any measurements, honestly, or much in the way of size comparisons, I would think, for this set. But I do want to do one size comparison with the T-Rex. And that is with the standard version of the Extreme Chompin' T-Rex, the original Extreme Chompin' Rex, which you can see here standing next to this newest version, which is now more of a young Rex. But you can see, again, they are absolutely the same size. The bodies are no different as far as the size goes. You can also see the positioning of the legs and how similar everything looks, because, again, same body for sure, just a different headpiece for this newest one, and obviously a way flashier color scheme compared to the older one. But if we actually grab this and bring them in and look at them from up above, you can see the tails and everything again are the same. So no differences really between the Extreme Chompin' T-Rex and this new one outside of the paint apps, and then of course the new head sculpt. As far as the only other comparison I think I want to do here is a Kenner Young Rex, and you can see again the very strong similarities between the overall appearance of the head sculpt on the older one compared to the newer Mattel version. But you also probably can take note to the fact that the Kenner version was significantly smaller compared to the Mattel version. The Mattel version is definitely a good bit larger. So this brand new Mattel Jurassic Park 93 Classic Off-Road Tracker Pack Tyrannosaurus Rex set is absolutely phenomenal, honestly. Even if it is just basically a bunch of figures we've already had that have been altered and, you know, switched up to be different from the originals, it's still incredible. You know, you've got the T-Rex, which initially was the Extreme Chompin' T-Rex, but we now have it basically upgraded with a Young Rex style head, which very much so resembles the Kenner Young Rex. But you also have a gorgeous paint scheme for it, which looks so cool, and again, absolutely looks like the old Kenner Rex. unfortunately I don't have. I wish I did so I could have compared with it, but it looks incredible in these paint apps. Very vibrant, very impressive, and probably one of my favorite Tyrannosaurs that Mattel has released so far. But on top of that, we have capture gear for it, which is crazy cool. Again, I'm a big fan of capture gear, of course have been since the original Kenner line, so anytime Mattel includes it on their new figures, I'm always a massive fan of it, and I think it looks great on this T-Rex as well. We also, of course, have a super nice looking Jeep that screams Jurassic Park in the best way possible. The sculpt of that as well is really nice. The paint apps of it are also really nice. Not much outside of being able to drive it as far as playability goes, but I think that's really all you need when it comes to something like this. And again, another fantastic addition to the 93 Classic line. And you also have Ray Arnold finally entering this line. We've got our own vintage version of Ray Arnold now, and he looks great as well. Not quite as exaggerated, I would say, as some of the others like Dennis Nedry and stuff, but he still looks really good, very nicely sculpted, nicely painted, and is a very cool addition to the set as well. Again, even if it is a bunch of kind of revamped versions of already released Mattel figures, it is a phenomenal set if you ask me, and one that I highly recommend picking up. So if you are interested, you can order this right now on Target.com and have it shipped to your home, or of course you can head in store and grab it from there as well. One way or another, definitely pick it up, and of course like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.